Hi guys, my name is Matthew Samimi and I run a cold lead generation consulting business in which we help our clients put in place the mechanics, the systems, the processes to generate more sales calls for their businesses and of course onboard more clients and generate more revenue overall. Been running this business for about 2 years now and I've collected a lot of tips, tricks, various strategies that have both failed and succeeded around cold lead generation, and I'm documenting all of these ideas on our new blog, unsubscribeplease.com, which I invite you to go and visit for some free content. Um, Many prospects, many business owners that I speak to ask me to review their messages, their cold messages, and the reason they ask me is because they simply aren't getting replies from cold prospects, or they're getting very few replies. And so, I'll sit there, I'll read the messages, and one common pattern I always notice, or notice very often at the very least, is um, there are always more than one question in the cold messages. Two questions, three questions, sometimes more. And, the questions might be at the beginning of the message or at the end or in the middle. But I always ask myself, I always try to put myself in the shoes of a cold recipient. And I think, which question do I answer? What do you want me to do exactly, pal? So I just don't know what to answer. It's as simple as that. So here are three common sense tips to deal with this problem, not getting enough replies if you have too many questions in your messages. So the first tip is have only one question, and I recommend inserting the question at the very end as the parting end of your message. If you have more than one question, say you have two or three questions, select the one that's most important and discard the other two. And I know it's hard to crystallize and remove content, cut the fluff, as it were, but it's so important because these cold recipients, these strangers, don't make it hard for them. Make it easy. So tip number one is include only one question, and I recommend inserting the question at the end of your message. Second tip is phrase your question as an actual question with a question mark. Please let me know when would be convenient to speak is not a question, it's a sentence. So I would just rephrase it simply as, what would be a convenient time for us to speak, question mark. And the logic behind that is a question invites a reply. A sentence certainly doesn't invite a reply. So that's a low-hanging fruit right there. And the last tip for today is I would recommend phrasing all your questions as yes/no questions. And a yes/no question is a question whose possible answers are either yes or no. An open-ended question, such as, what are your thoughts? Obviously requires more time and effort to sit down and write out an answer. And so while it's a good question to ask a friend, a family member, or somebody that you know professionally, a stranger won't be incentivized to answer that. They'll probably ignore you. So a yes/no question might sound like, would you be interested? Or would you be opposed to exploring further? Make it easy for them, right? So writing out yes is, takes 5 seconds. It's 3 letters. Writing out no is 2 letters. Give them the option to reply by making it easy for them and lowering that barrier to reply. So those are the 3 tips. Include only one question at the end of your message. Tip number 2, phrase your question as an actual question with a question mark. And tip number 3, phrase your question as a yes/no type question. For more tips and free content around cold lead generation, I invite you to visit our blog, unsubscribe-please.com. Please leave a question or comment below if you have any, and you can also reach out by email, which you can find on our blog.